Some days, especially in the state of Alabama, we know we have storms and we know we have sunshine. Like there's beautiful days and there's rough days weather-wise in this state this time of year. The same is true when it comes to being a fan of your favorite college football program. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. This has been a week where we've seen both. He's Zach Blackerby. I'm Brad Law. This is Village Vice. It's brought to you by mybookie.ag, 50% deposit bonus and a $10 casino chip when you use promo code BARN today at mybookie.ag. Okay, we started the week, not great news. And we talked about not great recruiting news. Since we last talked, Zach, Auburn got a commitment from an offensive lineman who could block out the sun, and they sold out season tickets for a third straight year in a year off of a 5-7 season. So and we could take these one at a time, and we don't have to spend a ton of time on either, but I mean, objectively, there's both bad and good news this week on the Auburn front.
Sure. And I would still argue that the bad news outweighs the good, but yeah, I mean, does the average fan care that season tickets were sold out? I don't know.
No, you also, I mean, it's weighted differently too, though. What it said, what does it say? It says the fan base is still aligned. It says the fan base is still behind because listen,
this is a serious question, and
yeah,
I'm ignorant on this.
Yeah.
Do SEC schools not sell out of season tickets? Is that not something everyone does?
No, not all of them. No, there are general well, they might when they get all the way down the road to general public season ticket packages, maybe.
Okay.
This is before you even got to that point.
Got it.
Which
you have Georgia and Bama at home.
Yeah.
Exactly. That doesn't have a factor. I think would be a little silly. But
they did it last year without them, but
sure, I do think there was more like optimism a year ago than right now. But I mean, so many fans still feel so good about this roster, to your credit, to where it's like there's a lot of people that are super excited to see, an older, more mature Cam Coleman and Malcolm Simmons and the addition of Eric Singleton and Jackson Arnold. Like, there's a lot to be excited for.
You show what you believe with your actions and not just with your words.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I'm going to wait and see. But I'm still going to put down the money. Sure. And again, this is not public season tickets. So I'm still putting down my donation. I'm still going to, I'm not plopping down $50 a ticket and celebrating a season ticket sale. And I'm not trying to hang a banner for season tickets sold. What I'm trying to say is if this was a train with the wheels falling off and you wouldn't be selling out season tickets before you even get to the public offerings. So people, not with their words, not with their keyboards or thumbs, but with their dollars, they're still aligned. There's still a ton. Sure. Now look, and recruiting, because I think two things can be true at the same time. You can have legitimate concerns about the 2026 recruiting class in a vacuum and also believe that the 2025 football season will be the most successful in a while. You can do both.
Yeah, because they don't really have any direct connection to each other, which feels weird. But Auburn can have a really, I don't think it'll be really bad, but let's say if it doesn't get better, they could have a bad recruiting class and still have a successful season. And then it limits the likelihood of you having bad recruiting classes in the future. That's the point. That's the point. And, everybody's acting like Auburn can flip 10 guys, and I hope they do. I think that'd be a long shot, but I hope they do. That'd be incredible. If you go 8-4 or 9-3 or better, does that have a better chance of happening? Yeah, sure. Nobody's arguing against that.
Yeah, it can help and it can hurt, but they could have an inverse effect on each other. Like a rough start to the recruiting class doesn't lend to bad results on the field this year.
Yep.
Now, a good season could positively impact the recruiting class. A bad season could negatively impact the recruiting class. But how we feel is the key word. How we feel about recruiting rankings in the class and flips and things like that in June really doesn't have any bearing on whether the team beats Baylor and Texas A&M and Georgia and Alabama and the rest of the teams on its schedule.
Yeah, there also is something to say about like how in it you and I are, and folks who watch, Auburn content all the time. Like a lot of the folks that are at Jordan Hare Stadium that bought tickets. I mean, I run into folks at church all the time and I talk to them or whatever. Like there's a lot of folks that buy tickets, season tickets for years and years and years.
Yeah.
They don't know who Shadarius Tootle is yet.
Yeah.
They don't know who Devin Carter is yet.
Yeah.
They don't know some of the guys that are currently committed, with Denarius Gray and some of these guys. Like they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
There's a massive chunk of the average Auburn fan doesn't know most of the recruits. They just don't. They buy the tickets, they go to the game, they may care about the big macro stuff, but they don't get as in the weeds as a lot of folks that cover Auburn, obviously, or the folks like you guys, the villagers that that consume all of this Auburn content. So I think there's something to be said about that too.
It's like playing it's like playing the stock market. If you look day by day, you could pull your hair out. But if you look long term, just like back away. Not from watching or consuming the content, but from how your emotions ride based on day-to-day versus long term.
Yep.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah. What about this recruit? You and I haven't talked about the offensive lineman from New Zealand yet. He's not played any football.
Yep. Heppy, 6'7".
Yeah.
I mean, well into the 300s, massive human being.
Yeah.
Rugby background. This is a project. This is a project where you have the best materials in the world, the finest clay you can imagine, and you just hope that the staff can mold it or build it into something.
Yeah.
In a few seasons. It seems like the kid's a pro. It seems like he's got everything that you want off the field as far as how he conducts himself. He seems like a hard worker, and he seems like he's ready to take this step. But like, this isn't a guy that is for the 2026 season. This isn't a guy who's for the 2027 season. It's probably until 2028 until this guy's realistically going to play, unless he's like super, super ahead of schedule, which could happen. We'll see. We'll certainly see. But very raw, but the upside, I think, is tremendous.
Yeah. And I wonder, this is obviously an outlier from almost everybody else in the recruiting class. I just wonder, do you start to see more schools go diamond in the rough, guy that doesn't come with a heftier price tag before he ever plays a snap on campus type of recruiting strategy? Again, not that everybody's going to be this guy. This guy's an outlier even among outliers.
Yeah.
But is it as important going forward to land the class full of high-dollar, high-priced recruits who have not yet played a snap for your school?
Yeah, I think, I think the whole outlook of like player by player, it's going to vary by position, and it's going to vary by school. I mean, will you see this for some smaller schools, maybe more, that can like kind of say, hey, let's hope this works out? Possibly. I think there's going to be so many different ways and different strategies that schools use the $20 million, allotment. I think it's going to be interesting and fun to see how different schools deal with it.
Yeah. Let me be clear, by the way, on what I'm not doing. I'm not trying to minimize the importance of a recruiting class. And I'm not saying that Auburn's gotten bad recruiting news over the last few weeks.
Sure.
So I'm trying to minimize, so it's not important now. That's not at all what I'm saying. That was more of a question about long-term recruiting strategies in the current landscape. So with rev share and that sort of thing. So
yeah, and some of that may also depend on, how strict is this NIL clearinghouse going to be able to be? Like, if you truly are limited to this 20 and a half, then yeah, maybe you do see more of that. I think you'll see more top-heavy recruiting classes for sure. But it just kind of depends. Depends on if they really do what they're going to say or not.
Yep.
Which I don't think will stay legally, by the way.
Sure. No, for sure. Okay. Before we talk Janai Broom and the NBA draft, would you tell our fine villagers about Rowback?
Yes, rowback.com is where you can get all of your quarter zips, all of your polo shirts, all of your performance hoodies, your hats. They've got shorts and pants. They've got it all. You're going to look good in all of it, especially if you're Brad Law, because you look good in everything. But rowback.com, use promo code Vice20 for 20% off your order. Rowback.com.
Got it on today. So night two of the NBA draft. It's a fun night. It's an exciting night. I've seen some draft projections that see Janai going early in the second round. I saw one in particular. Was it CBS maybe that they had him going to the Hornets, who have back-to-back picks early in the second round? Just your thoughts on the draft so far and Janai Broom's status.
Yeah, I think CBS has him going to the Hornets. I think ESPN had him going to the Bulls, maybe at 40, if that sounds right. I mean, regardless of where he goes, they're drafting the second best player in college basketball last year. Arguably, would have taken home some even more hardware if he would have remained healthy. What could have been, but obviously a warrior, and it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in at the next level. I assume he's being drafted to play a 4, which NBA power forwards are some of the most freakishly gifted athletes in the world. And that's some of the concern of just does Janai Broom's game translate to the next level? I can't wait to see which team thinks that he's got a shot at it.
Yeah, I agree. Is he the only Tiger who is drafted? I mean, is there a chance that another guy goes?
I've seen a lot of big boards that have Dylan Cardwell like as a draftable like flyer at the end of the second round. And I'm a little surprised by that. If he gets drafted, that might be the most impressive thing Bruce Pearl has done.
Yeah.
And he's done some impressive stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, what a recruiting pitch that would be.
Well, even Janai going in the second round, Janai didn't come to Auburn as an NBA draft lock.
Yeah.
He was a conference defensive player of the year at Moorhead, but that continues a trend. Like, okay, did we see Jabari Smith going in the top 5? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody did. Did we see Walker Kessler being a surefire first-round pick?
No.
Did you see JT Thor being a second-round pick after 1 year on campus?
I didn't. That surprised me in real time.
Sharif Cooper. Now, Sharif missed 2/3 of the season.
Sharif had that buzz. Yeah.
Isaac Okoro going 5th overall.
I think he was seen as a draft pick.
Yeah.
I don't think he was seen as a top 5 pick.
He was a one-and-done guy.
Yeah.
But to your point, not top 5. Chuma Okeke, mid-first round? Not when he got to Auburn. I love doing this. I love running these lists because they show you what to do. By the way, before Chuma Okeke, do you remember the last player drafted that played at Auburn? Before this Bruce Pearl run, by the way, and, Davion Mitchell's on the list. He played at Auburn, but he didn't finish at Auburn, so I don't put him on there. So that's 6 guys. Broom can be the 7th.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn's in a spot to have 7 guys drafted in 7 years.
Right. You know how far back you got to go for 7, the previous 7?
No, tell me.
You got to go all the way back to Matt Geiger in 1992.
Wow.
And that counts Tony Douglas, who was drafted in 2009, who only played a year at Auburn. Before that, it's Jamison Brewer. Jamie Brewer in 2001.
Wow.
So you pull it back. Then you go to Chris Morris in 1988 to find 7 previous draft picks from Auburn basketball.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. What a great run. I mean, program-changing run that we're on right now.
And so I kind of come back to the point. Why did you run that list? Because all of those guys, with the exception of Jabari, were all developed by this staff.
That's true.
they're not just recruiters. Like, you can recruit amazing talent and not win conference championships and not go to Final Fours.
I would put Sharif Cooper in the same category as Jabari.
Okay. And I won't fight. I won't fight against that. But he didn't slide to the second round because he was underdeveloped. He was
short.
Correct. He was short, and he played a third of a season. A third of a COVID
I don't
year.
think the NBA cares about how much you play, but
okay.
But
fair enough. He could have played the whole season and been his height. And
the thing that's crazy to think about to me, is just how different basketball scouting is in other sports. Is in a game where one guy can make such a difference because you only got 5 guys out there at a time. The rosters are so much smaller that you can have 2 guys get drafted in the top 5 from the same team and they not make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is what happened with Rutgers. Like, that is, I remember a few years ago when Anthony Edwards got taken out of Georgia, like he couldn't even get Georgia to the NCAA championship. Obviously, Anthony Edwards is very good. That was the correct call. But it's just amazing that you have 2 top 5 guys from Rutgers and you missed the tournament. That's amazing to me.
Ben Simmons is one of the all-time great examples of that.
With LSU,
one of the leading candidates for Player of the Year all year long, a phenom coming into LSU.
Crazy.
And make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
It underscores too how different what the NBA looks for is from what college, what works in college. Because Duke, 2 top 5 picks, Final 14. The runner-up to Player of the Year.
That's the stuff when we were talking about like Tahad Pettiford. Everybody's like, "Well, come back, you'd be a lottery pick next year." I'm like, probably, like, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe if he can prove he's a better defender and maybe more consistent shooting, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Player of the Year, Cooper Flagg, number 1 overall pick.
Right.
Janai Broom in the discussion all year long. Second round guy.
It's just the evaluation process is totally different.
Yeah.
And they're usually right. Like these big name college, like Tyler Hansborough.
Yeah.
One of the more dominant college basketball players I remember watching. I think I was in high school watching him and I was just like blown away by him. And then he's just like a guy.
Yeah.
At the NBA. It's just, it feels
forgettable
different.
at the NBA level. Yeah.
Yeah. Feels different. So
there you go. Were you surprised? Now, with that said, the audiences are a little different too. Were you surprised that 2 NCAA tournament games that Auburn played in outperformed games 4, 5, and 6 of the NBA finals?
Yes, that did surprise me.
Is that a growing college audience or a waning NBA audience? Or 2 smaller market teams in the finals?
I meant to go back and look and see like what time all those games were.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, Michigan State on there was super interesting to me.
Yeah, it was like a mid-afternoon Sunday game.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised to see that one on there. And then like Kentucky, Illinois was on there. And I think that was like a second round game, if I remember correctly, or Sweet 16, one of those. So yeah, I think some of it I think more of it has to do with the NBA falling off.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that Auburn was in 2 of those.
No question. It's great marketing because there's like 3 teams that had 2 games in the top 10 most watched basketball games. Not college or pro, but basketball. And Auburn was one of them. So
yeah, and I almost give more weight to the ones that weren't Final 4 games or the Natty.
Yeah.
Because obviously one of Auburn's was the Final 4 loss to Florida. But the Michigan State one, and what a great game to watch and pick up, extra eyeballs on.
Yeah.
I mean, Janai leaving and coming back. I'll never forget that moment.
No,
I'll never forget that moment.
Yeah, you're right. It's the storytelling, the drama behind that. The conflict was terrific.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of conflict, as we get set to wrap up the show, we are how many days till kick? We're 64, but I can't make a roster comparison. In fact, I can't make it for the next 5 days because nobody on the current listed roster wears 60, 61, 62, 63, or 64.
How about that? That's crazy.
This is my ongoing bit throughout the year, and I guess we've only got another week or so with it because I think most of the numbers are taken once we get below 60. But I don't have an explanation for it. When you got double numbers, That should mean the rest are full. I don't. 64.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only positions that wear numbers in the 60s are offensive linemen. You don't see I think defensive linemen can wear numbers in the 60s. You just never see it. So
you could have a long snapper wear that number.
That's true. That's true.
You should probably have a long snapper. I don't know what number the long snappers wear now.
I think those are normally in the 40s, if I remember correctly. Like any kind of special team stuff that's not a punter or a kicker, they seem to be in the 40s, I think.
Yeah, I think we need to move those guys to the 60s and just leave them be.
Okay. All right.
So, I mean, I know nobody out there is acting on it. I understand that, whoever's going to run college football in the future is not going to do anything about it. But
it's just so like not a thing people care about other than you.
I would love to be able to say we are, whoever wears number 64 days away from kickoff, but
yeah,
can't do that. Nobody gets that honor. They miss out.
Do we have a 59?
I don't know. I'll have to check.
Unless I'm just blanking. Do we have a 59?
A 59? Yeah, we have a 59 because I wouldn't have stopped my list.
Who is it?
Well, I'm gonna find out.
Who is it, Brad?
I'm gonna get there.
Who wears 59? Comment in the comments right now if you know.
I don't have a memorized. You know what also would help is
How's
if when
it
I go to
taking you so long to get to that?
Because when you sort the roster, it takes like 2 clicks before it actually registers what you're trying to do.
You've had time to click more than twice, Brad.
59, 65 is Xavier Chaplin. 59 is Isaac Bolger. So there you have it.
I've always been a big Isaac Bolger fan.
Sure. You know what? There's no 54 or 55 either. How do we not have
55 is 54 and 55 are great numbers.
How is there no Takeo Spikes wore 55? How do we not have a 55?
For the longest time, I thought 54 was like the best linebacker number.
Yes. And I think maybe when Takeo played, we had he either wore 50 or 54. Like Ricky Neal wore a similar number, another 50 something. And it was outstanding side by side with Takeo.
My formative years of like learning to love football, the Patriots had Teddy Bruschi and like Junior Seau next to each other, 54 and 55. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like, this is what you want.
Well, so now I'm mad at, Ricky Neal wore 50. See, I wasn't supposed to get ticked off about this for another 9 days.
No, you should never get ticked off about this. It's not worth being upset over.
But we don't have a 55. Surely we're going to give somebody coming in. I like how you're totally like, you can tell you're a parent because you're just letting me throw my tantrum. You're handling this perfectly. You're just letting me throw my tantrum and then be like, all right, well, when you're finished, we'll wrap up the show.
Yeah.
And we'll go whenever you're done.
No, I'll the next thing I'll ask is what I would ask one of my oldest, who's the queen of the tantrums right now, is, well, if you could pick, who would you want to wear 55?
I would give the starting middle linebacker number 2055 or number 55.
You just snuck number 20 in there too. How about that?
Yeah, no, I'm all frazzled.
That's not the correct answer, but that's okay.
Okay, who would you give 55?
I think Elijah Melendez would look great in 55.
Maybe
more traditional, like linebacker, little more old school.
Yeah. Okay, and maybe that's what they're going to do.
Does he have a number on there yet?
Well, I'm looking.
He went through spring, right?
Yeah, so he probably already has a number. I'm checking.
You could do Control F and type his name in.
Yes,
and it takes you right to him.
I know. Oh, let's see. Yeah, he's number 9. Number 9. That's not no. And I know Eugene wore number 9. Eugene should have been 55.
Eugene is 54 would look great.
That's true. Eugene at 54 would have been good. Melendez at 55 is. I'm sorry. Hey, nothing against him. Look better at 55.
I'm a fan of the single digit numbers at linebacker too, though. Like that has really grown on me. It's really grown on me.
I mean, you want your linebacker to be physically imposing and look all wide, like you can't run.
Other linebackers have different roles in modern football. I know that's
Yeah.
not popular, but Elijah Melendez, I want that dude laying somebody out until I'm okay with a 54 or 55 on it.
That was so clever. That little subtle, that was the most subtle thing you've done in 2 years on this show.
What?
When you said, linebackers in modern football have different roles. So, Brad, the neck roll ain't coming back. You need to get off of your number thing. You need to quit telling people to get off your lawn. It's a different game. The number thing's never going to happen. You need to let it go. That's what you communicated with that subtle. Everybody else caught it too. They all caught it.
No, there was nothing to catch. I didn't throw anything, so there's nothing to catch.
I don't hate it. It was very
I didn't learn how much older you are than me until like a week ago. So I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care that you're like 18 years older than me.
This number thing's going to give me gray hair prematurely the more I think about it.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. That does it for today's show.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We appreciate it. You could have watched a million other things, but you chose this, and we appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing as well. And remember, until next time, everyone has vices.
That's right.
Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.
Yep.